Greetings, everybody. I'm Mark David, and welcome. I am so glad you are here. We are in 4 game-changing relationship skills for practitioners, how to help your clients forever transform their relationship challenges. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a couple of minutes with you now, hanging out, schmoozing, getting ready. We're going to officially start in a few more minutes, but what I would love for you to do is say hi in the comments section below. Just let us know where you're from, and just say a few words. Also, if you want to make me feel good about myself, you can give me some hearts or some love. Hello, Miss Kathleen, who has just joined in. I am glad you're here. Welcome again. And I'm really excited about this relationship. I mean, what could be a more important topic than that? Hello, Miss Maxine. I am glad you're here. We're going to dive into some really interesting content. This conversation is geared towards practitioners, even though I'm going to guess you can use this information for you, for yourself, for your friends, your family, your loved ones. Certainly, if you're the kind of person who's already a professional and already a practitioner, you're going to get lots of great insights. Hello, Miss Lindsay. Good to see you here. Hello, Miss Susie Q. Please feel free in the comments section below. Say where you're from. Give us some geography. That's always fun. Just so you know, our staff is going to be in the comments section. They'll be answering questions as best they can as those questions come up. And I'm going to just wait a few more minutes for people to jump on live. And I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your attention. I am personally all about conversations that matter. That's pretty much what I live for. I like a good restaurant. I like to get outside. Yes, I love nature. Yes, I love the things that I love. But wow, I'll stay up till all hours of the morning to have a conversation that truly, truly matters. And I would also love for you to let us know in the comments section below if you are a graduate of our Eating Psychology Coach Certification Training. Please do me a favor, identify yourself for our purposes and also for purposes of people who are in this conversation together. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark David. I'm the founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. So my work in the world, my passion, my gift has been around nutrition, health, eating psychology, and all the challenges that we face as eaters. And what I quickly noticed as I was practicing was that so many of the eating challenges that people face, whether it's weight, body image, overeating, binge eating, emotional eating, it's connected to so many of our other life concerns. So I realized that one of the key life concerns that our relationship with food is connected to is relationships. So I realized I needed to learn about relationship a heck of a lot more. By the way, feel free to share this presentation with your friends, family, students, loved ones. That would be so good for us. And again, if you're just hopping on now, do us a favor. I'm going to officially begin in a couple of minutes. Say hi in the comment section below. Let us know where you're from, and I'd so appreciate it. I am broadcasting to you from beautiful Boulder County, Colorado, which has become my home. 15 years. I love it. Magical place. Colorado is not quite the West. It's not the East. It's not the North. It's not the South. It's right in the middle. It's an interesting hybrid. So I know a lot of you here are indeed here because you are a practitioner of some kind, be it a counselor, a therapist, a coach, a life coach, a health coach, an eating psychology coach. So this conversation is going to be geared towards professionals and how you can begin to have distinctions that really help when it comes to working with people around their relationship challenges. In this business, when it comes to relationship, please know, and I know you know this, and I think this is true, I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I think that there's oftentimes a good, a better, and a best, And I think there's places where we step into the unknown. There's places where we need to explore. There's places where we need to go to the edge sometimes. Relationship does that for us. So it's a juicy place. It's an interesting place. There's a lot of energy in relationship. There's a lot of power there. So one of our jobs as a practitioner, as a human being in relationship, and when I'm talking about relationship, my friends, I want you to hear significant relationship with a significant other. So if you're just coming on, hello, welcome. Do me one favor, say hi in the comment section below. Let us know where you're from. I'm going to officially begin in about another minute. I'm waiting for just a few more people to hop on. For those of you who already joined in and saying hi, thank you so much. Our staff will be in the comment section below answering questions. Hello, Miss Melissa Story. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Hey, do me a favor also, if you're just popping on, feel free to identify yourself as an eating psychology coach, just so we all could know, everyone, us over here at the Institute and everybody in this conversation. Hello, Anita Moore. I'm glad you came by. What a great way for us to communicate together. Like, think about that. We have people from all over the world in a conversation that matters. Hey, y'all, is it like a few minutes after 2? Can I officially begin? What do you think? Yes, okay. That's my team back there. They tell me what to do and I listen. So, thank you for joining in. I so appreciate it. Welcome, Sandra. I'm glad you're here. I'm Mark David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Once again, this workshop is called 4 Game-Changing Relationship Skills for Practitioners. How to help your clients forever transform their relationship challenges. Not like we're going to help our clients never have a relationship challenge again. But what this is about is learning the tools, the distinctions that can help us move things forward, to reframe, to restory, to create a different understanding of so many of the challenges that we face. So thank you so much for being here. Here's how it's going to roll out. So I'm going to cover some great content about the core distinctions of conscious relationships. We're going to talk about some common toxic relationship beliefs. I'll tell you what those are and why they're so important to understand. We'll get a little down and dirty. We're going to talk about a different view of fighting, arguing, and conflict, and how to put that to good use. And we're going to touch upon some of the key archetypes and how they're so important to understand and transform our relationships. I'll hopefully tell a few good stories in there. At least I think they're good. You'll let me know. And I'm also going to be sharing towards the end about our soon-to-be-released conscious relationship training. Briefly, that's a 5-month online professional training that's going to help you turbocharge your skills around working with clients. I'll say more about that later. I love doing Facebook Live because it's more immediate. It's more real. I can't get too markety or salesy. I have to really be on my game. We have to be on our game together. So my background is originally in nutrition and psychology. I mentioned before that I quickly realized that in order to help clients transform so many of their health issues and their eating challenges, I had to notice what those things were connected to, because food challenges aren't just about food. And it was so easy to see that so many of our eating conditions, health conditions, are connected to other aspects of life. One of the most important aspects of life we know is our significant relationships. So personally, I'm obsessed about relationships. I want to do them right. I want to get better and better at it. I want to benefit from them, contribute to them. I want to understand their mysteries. So both personally and professionally, I've immersed myself in the study of conflict resolution and communication styles, masculine and feminine psychology, marriage and family counseling, family constellation therapy, very fascinating stuff. Another system called parts therapy, sexuality, intimacy, and I've studied the work of really some of the key relationship experts and a lot of the lesser known ones as well. Have a master's degree in psychology. I've been at the front lines working with people in so many of their, really gritty, real, and more difficult relationship challenges. So anyway, I've tried to take the greatest hits from everything I've learned. That's how my brain works. I just want to study as much as I can, take the greatest hits, put it together. So that will be hopefully reflected in this conversation we're having together, and it's reflected in the training I created. You're going to hear more about that. You know, you got to realize that the life we live, my friends, your life has helped qualify you to talk about relationship. You know, so many of the ways we learn and solve our relationship challenges is because we talk to our friends. You talk to your best friend, you talk to your brother, your sister, someone you trust. You know, so many of us, for me, I've been married, separated, divorced, single, in love, out of love. I was certain of what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. So I've learned a lot. And, you know, we have to be honest as practitioners, I think, and really bring our history in a good way into how we talk about relationship. You know, check it out. Marriages these days, you know this, they have a 50%, a half chance of survival. I read online this fascinating distinction that the stress of divorce is considered equivalent to the stress of experiencing a car crash every day over 6 months. Who came up with that? How did they figure that out? I have no idea, but I found it fascinating. The number one relationship argument, guess what it is? Money. Interesting. Another statistic, marital satisfaction decreases after the first baby is born and soars after the first child leaves home. It's also considered, I don't know how they figured this out, that a troubled relationship is as big of a risk factor for heart disease as regular smoking. It's crazy. When you ask people, name a couple that you want to be like, what's the couple you know that you want to model your relationship after, that you want to emulate? A lot of people look at you and they don't have an answer. It's fascinating. Seldom, you know, every once in a while, I'll speak to somebody who had great parents. They loved their parents. They had great parenting. They loved their parents' relationship. But otherwise, people will look blank when you ask them who they want to emulate. Now, also understand, thanks for jumping in, people who are coming in. Just so you know, we are in 4 game-changing relationship skills for a practitioner. Andrea Bell, I am so glad you're here. Welcome. And Macy Graham, so glad you're here too. So we're often impacted by the people, the images that live in our head. When you ask people to name a famous couple, just ask them to name any famous couple, the first place they immediately go is to a Hollywood couple or a music industry couple. You'll hear Brad and Angelina. When you press and say, okay, give me someone who's not a famous couple, that's, you know, from the media, from the movies, most people will give you 2 couples, Romeo and Juliet. Notice how that was that had a tragic ending, my friends. Or they'll give you Adam and Eve, which is great. They're the first couple, but notice that that first couple also got punished big time by the big dude upstairs. So I'm not knocking that. All I'm saying is that's some of the models that we're working off of. I consider myself pretty lucky in this realm. I have images of my grandparents in their 80s and their 90s, like holding hands, like back in that day. We made it for life. Like, that's how we did it. So I grew up with these memories of my grandparents staying together till the last days. You know, how beautiful. And nowadays, things are a little different, my friends. You know, relationships, you know this, they can bring out the absolute best in us and they can bring out the worst in us. We can, in the realm of relationship, we can hurt, we can destroy, we can lie, we can manipulate, we can disregard, we can foolishly tear down with one action what has taken years to create and uphold in a relationship. At the same time, it can be one of the greatest places in life to grow, to feel love, to feel a higher love, to feel connection, intimacy, to just develop wisdom and joy and sharing so much. It's a crazy world in so many ways. So relationship is, for so many of us, the place that we go. You know, when you look at it from a biological standpoint, we are hardwired to procreate. Okay, we're hardwired to procreate. So right there, it drives the need for relationship. In order for the species to continue, this thing called male and female need to come together, and that's how it works on the planet. Relationship is changing these days. I think that's the challenge. We are living in a world where we never got training. You didn't learn in junior high school or high school how to do relationship. And then if you have a relationship challenge, you either have to go to couples therapy, and so many people don't like that. Couples therapy in general, tends to, for a lot of people, it feels like, oh, we failed, or there's something wrong with us. Or maybe you read a book, or you talk to your friends, you hope things get better. And by the way, when I'm talking about relationship challenges, let's just name those for a moment. Communication, fighting, arguing, lack of connection or intimacy, separation, breaking up, divorce, transitions. Relationships go through interesting transitions. Dating, outdated beliefs about relationship that hold us back. And I'm talking about the very unique relationship challenges that face women, that face men, and that face people of different age groups. So, if you're any kind of coach, practitioner, helping professional, to me, you have a fabulous opportunity to make a big difference in the lives of clients as you start to learn how to bring good relationship distinctions to bear with your clients. One of the reasons relationship is so challenging, we have a hard enough time being in relationship with self. I mean, think about it. Think about you and you together. It's hard being you. It's hard being me. Got a lot of nonsense going upstairs in this neighborhood. So that's hard enough, being a person on planet Earth who can have our act together, who can be happy, who can be functional. And then you take two creatures and you put them together and you make them live in a small box, houses, apartments. Woof, we're asking a lot of humans. Not easy. So let's just own that from the beginning. On top of that, I think there's so many relationship challenges these days. Most people think that my relationship challenge is my fault, it's my issue, and there's something wrong with me. Relationships do not occur in isolation. They occur in the context of the world, of the community, of the culture. And the world we live in ain't always so healthy, my friends. It's not always, doesn't have things right. So it makes sense that within a challenging world, within a challenging economic world, within a world that has a lot of tension, a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, it makes sense that our relationships are going to follow that. So let's jump into the 4 skills that you can learn to help yourself be a better relationship practitioner. Here's the first skill. Help your clients make their relationship conscious. Help your clients make their relationship conscious. So allow me to say what I mean. I am defining consciousness as being more aware, as being more awake, as seeing life as it really is, as expanding one's heart, one's mind, one's soul, and growing, and maybe even tapping into a higher wisdom, a higher power, an invisible architecture. You've noticed this, you've seen this. The more you're on planet Earth, the more you learn, the more conscious we can become. Unconsciousness, opposite. It's us being on autopilot, and it's us staying in behavioral, instinctive ego problems. So in other words, in relationship, unconsciousness and ego might be, I'm right, you're wrong. We're in a fight, it's your fault. I should win. This relationship is supposed to make me happy, and for the fighting and arguing, it's bad, something's wrong, the romance is over, so it's time to leave you. You're just like my mother, my father. So I'm calling that we can get a little bit of sleep. Now, the simple way to help your client introduce consciousness to relationship is to educate them about it. It's as simple as that, to educate. Oftentimes as practitioners, we are here to listen, we're here to coach, we're here to love, we're here to guide, we're here to mentor. We teach in our trainings that so much of what you do as a coach, or a big chunk of what you do, is literally to educate, is to put on your teacher hat and your teacher persona in such a way that you're not being so pedantic, but you're guiding your client from a place of introducing some wisdom and some consciousness to them. So I'll talk about this with a client. Let me mention to you 5 core principles that you can share with your clients, or so you have these in the back of your mind, so you can help your client create a more fulfilling and conscious relationship. So these are core principles of conscious relationship. First one, relationship has a higher purpose. Like, really. For those of you who studied the work of Harville Hendricks, he's very clear about that. There's this invisible architecture going on. So as soon as you enter a significant relationship, somehow, hello, Miss Stephanie Mara, and hello, Mr. Michael Wentz. You must be in Italy. I'm feeling the power there. Bring me back some food. So relationship has a higher purpose. And in order to believe in a higher purpose, you have to believe in the unseen a little bit. You have to believe in a higher code. If you're an atheist, either cover your ears or translate this as a higher code to live by. If you're more of a spiritual, religious kind of person, then think of it as a higher power. But when we begin to bring that understanding into relationship, it kind of changes the game a little bit. I mean this, my friends. Because all of a sudden, it's not me versus my partner. It's not who's right, who's wrong. All of a sudden, it's about, what's the higher purpose here? Why did we come together? What are we supposed to be learning here? How are we supposed to move through these challenges? Because if you're in relationship, definitionally, there's going to be challenges. So the simple belief that we adopt that relationship has a higher purpose shifts the whole terrain. And once you're there, we can get a little bit more down and dirty and look at core principle number 2, which is that relationship, very specifically, is here to help us grow. You are paying a heck of a lot of tuition every time you enter a significant relationship. So what I'm suggesting is, let's get value from that education. Let's get value from all that tuition you have to pay, all the lessons you have to go through, all the things you learn, because it's Jedi training. It's going to hone you. It's going to take you and I and all of us as the diamonds in the rough that we are, my friends. And it's going to shine us up a little bit. It's going to polish us up. It's going to cut off a few rough edges. It's going to hurt. I don't have to tell you that. It hurts. But there's a process, there's a journey, and humans have been going through it for eons of time. And when we truly begin to embrace that as our philosophy, our religion, our operating system, it starts to work for us. We access, in my experience, a wisdom that really works. A lot of your clients, a lot of people, we just don't think that way. We don't think relationship is here to help me grow. We think relationship is here to do stuff for me. It's here to fulfill whatever I want. So you better start doing things, honey. So next, core principle number 3. Relationship is like a third entity. Relationship is a third entity, meaning this. So when it comes to you and your partner, there's you, there's your partner, there's 2 people. But once you enter relationship, there's this third invisible creature that gets formed called the relationship, and the relationship has its own agenda. So I have my agenda. My partner might have her own agenda. Your partner might have his or her own agenda. But the relationship has its software that's driving it. So part of it is learning not just to listen to what I have to say about my relationship, or even what my partner has to say about the relationship. What's the relationship saying? What's it asking of us? How is what we're going through brilliant? Not easy, but how's it asking us to grow, to expand, to mature, to be a better person? Next, core principle number 4, relationship is an ever-changing experience. A good friend of mine once said, let me describe to you heterosexual relationships just in 2 sentences. He said, oftentimes Man comes into a relationship thinking, oh my God, she's never going to change. She's going to stay just like this. And the woman is coming in thinking, I can change this guy. And I thought, that certainly described a lot of how I approached relationships and a lot of how I felt relationship was approaching me in my younger days. We kind of want it to oftentimes stay the same, especially if it's a same that we like. And that experience is so dynamic. It's so ever-changing. And how do we embrace that? How do we get on the bandwagon? How do we ride that wave as if it's the best wave ever? Next, core principle number 5. Let's focus on our true primary relationship. Here's the thing. True primary relationship is probably with yourself. Normally when we have a relationship issue, we try to fix the relationship, or even first before that, we try to change the other person. That's what I like to do, because after all, it's probably their fault. But when we focus on our true primary relationship, which is with self, that's how some of the most powerful work in relationship gets done. There is brilliant, powerful, wonderful, effective work that happens not by two people duking it out, figuring out, talking it out, processing, even though that can happen. But there's brilliant work that gets done when we go to our corner, when we start to look in the mirror, when we start to look at self and say, who am I? What do I need to do? How do I need to grow? So the relationship is always pointing back to us. And I'll tell you one more core principle, just for extra credit. And really, this is for the more religious, spiritual characters in this conversation, which is we have another true primary relationship, and that's with a higher power. If you're an atheist, think higher moral code. When we start to, and if a higher power is important to you, refer to that. Because that's your primary relationship. It's always going to be there. Partners come and go. People are born, people die. You're always going to be with yourself. You're always going to be with the invisible. You're always going to be with whatever you think created the whole show. How are you in relationship with that? Because those relationships, the one with self, the one with a greater wisdom, informs how we come into our relationship with a significant other. Okay, so those are some of the distinctions that, I might bring them up in a conversation, and I talk about this more specifically how to do that in our training. Let's talk about skill number 2 right now. Working with toxic relationships belief. Working with toxic relationship beliefs. So let me define that for a moment. Toxic relationship beliefs. These are important. These are beliefs that we have about relationship that are old, that are outdated, and that don't actually work, but they're part of our operating system. They're part of how we believe about the world. If we are operating with a toxic relationship belief that's silently running the program of our mind and impacting our relationship. Hello, Miss Sherry Levinson. Good to see your smiling face here. When we start to work with those beliefs, see what they are, identify them, we often notice how those are the very beliefs that have been holding us back in our relationship. Let me give you an example. A lot of men, so in heterosexual relationships, a lot of men have this toxic relationship belief called all women are, fill in the blank, all women are. All women are crazy, or all women are uptight, or whatever you have heard men say about all women are. Women also will have their toxic relationship belief. All men are. All men cheat. All men can't be trusted. Now, if you have the relationship belief, men can't be trusted, and you're in a relationship with a man, well, you're going to be looking for evidence of that. And you're going to find it when it's there, and you're going to find it when it's not there. And our partner's going to pick up on that. If you're a man in relationship, and you're operating on the belief, my partner should be just like my mother, and just love me perfectly, and just juice me up all the time because my mother was so good to me. We don't marry our mother. We marry another person. So when we start to see how those beliefs are impacting us, we could do some interesting things. Lao Tzu, the famous proponent, should I say, philosopher, wise man of Taoism, said that learning happens by addition. Learning happens by addition, and wisdom happens by subtraction. Learning happens by addition, wisdom happens by subtraction, meaning you want to learn stuff, get online, Google stuff, you're going to learn facts, you're going to add facts to your head, you're going to learn. Wisdom, real wisdom, stuff that you can use to operate the world in a very effective and powerful way, happens by subtraction, meaning unlearning some of the nonsense we have learned, unlearning some of the principles that are in our operating system that are driving us into the wrong neighborhoods. So, let me mention 4 toxic relationship beliefs that might be useful to start to consider. And there's so many more. Just so you know, I talk about those in our training, but I'm going to pick out 4 right now. A toxic relationship belief number 1, and there's a lot of us, when we're younger, we have this: relationship is here to save me. Toxic relationship belief number 1, relationship is here to save me. Woo! If you think relationship is here to save you, that relationship is going to be in trouble. And it does save us sometimes for a little while, because sometimes we need to be saved by love. We need to be saved by falling in love. And if I'm in a relationship and it stops saving me, and all of a sudden I have to help the other person, or they're showing up in a different way, all of a sudden that's not working, and the relationship starts to go south. Toxic relationship number 2, relationship must fulfill my needs and desires. I work with a woman who was in her 50s. She had been married before. She had been engaged another time. She was looking for a significant relationship. I asked her to just write down a list of things that you want from this relationship. She wrote down 122 things that she said, these are must-haves. I gotta have these in the relationship. I'm like, 122 things that the person has to have. Uh-oh. No wonder we're having problems meeting someone. So, relationship isn't necessarily here to fulfill our needs and desires. It's here to teach us. It's here to help us grow. Toxic relationship belief number 3. When I'm in the perfect relationship, then, fill in the blank, then everything will be okay. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll have more energy. Then I'll be the real me. Then I'll truly come out. So a lot of people are actually waiting for this perfect relationship, for everything to come into place and to finally be the real me. One of the ways of working with clients around relationship is working with people who aren't in relationship, because so many people, think about it for a moment, we're either in relationship, or we're either trying to get out of relationship, or we're looking for a relationship, or we're recovering from a relationship, or looking for a better relationship, or looking to fix the relationship we're in. So somehow there's always relationship for so many of us floating around in the atmosphere. So it's just as important to learn really how to work with your client who's single, who's dating, who's consciously single and wants to stay single for a little while, be in relationship with themselves, to start to look at what are some of the pieces that are holding them back. The in-between times, I talk about that in our training. So powerful. Okay, toxic relationship belief number 4 that I want to mention. I need to be someone else to be loved and to be in relationship. In other words, who I am ain't good enough. Who I am ain't lovable. How many of you have done this? Women especially do this. Men do it too, though, where you become someone else in order to be in relationship with such and such a person because you think that's who they want. And in order for me to get loved, I just have to be who they want me to be, which of course means I compromise myself, which sends us down the wrong road. So, once again, there are lots more toxic relationship beliefs. I just wanted to give you a little taste of that. So when you're working with a client and you have a good sense of what the 15 or 20 most common toxic relationship beliefs are, you're listening in the back of your mind for those. You'll hear your client speaking. You'll be able to identify that with them. You're able to be in a conversation. So much about working with clients in the realm of relationship is you having distinctions, having knowledge, knowing how to listen, being a good conversationalist. You don't have to be a good fixer. You have to know how to listen. You have to know how to ask questions. You have to know the kinds of questions to answer. Yes, there's great distinctions and tools to move your clients forward, but it all begins with a little bit of wisdom and knowledge that lays the foundation. Okay, let's talk about skill number 3. Let's get into fighting and arguing. Man, I think this is an important topic. Fighting, arguing, and conflict is ultimately the number one relationship assassin. You know, many of us are taught that fighting in a relationship is bad. We're taught that it's a sign that something's wrong. Now, there's a lot of humans who do not like conflict. Think of all the people in your world, like who really likes conflict and to get down and dirty and to argue? What couples do you know that fight and argue and have good outcomes from that? You know, most people don't want to be fighting and they don't want to be disagreeing. You know, we don't want a heated conversation, a blow up in our face. Bottom line is conflict, fighting, arguing has gotten a really, really bad rap. Now, understandable. It's understandable. Conflict, arguing and fighting, I'm kind of using those interchangeably. Conflict is inherently stressful. Nobody likes it because it's stressful. In the moment, you don't want to be doing that. You want niceness, perhaps. So many of us have never learned how to do conflict in a good way. And our belief that conflict is bad stops us from receiving the hidden benefits of conflict. So here's the solution. Here is the kind of technique. Fighting for a higher purpose. So don't just fight. Fight for a higher purpose. Let me tell you what a higher purpose is. Fight for the relationship. Most people are fighting about the relationship. Most people are fighting in the relationship. They're not necessarily fighting for the relationship. What does that even mean? If you have a higher purpose for fighting, you're fighting for something, fighting for justice, fighting for truth. By the way, when I'm saying fighting, arguing, complaining, whining, and bitching is not fighting. That's not what I'm calling fighting. That stuff is a dead end. When I'm saying to fight for something, fight for better communication. Fight for better understanding. Fight for more awareness about the other person. Fight to learn about each other. Fight to move through your own blocks and your own nonsense. Fight to help move through the other person's own blocks and their nonsense. Fight for a more functional and healthy relationship. Stop fighting your partner. Fight for the relationship. Can you feel the reframe in there? Can you feel how things can look just a little bit different in there? A reframe is a personal evolution. Think of it this way. Conflict, fighting, arguing is energy. It's energy. When you're in the middle of a fight, think of how much energy you have. So the idea is alchemy. The idea is to take that energy and redirect it, to take that energy and transform it into something good, into something useful. Because think of it this way. Can you remember a fight that you had with your significant other, and it was really intense and it was really heated, and you actually worked through it, and you actually came out understanding each other, and you actually came out of that fight, and while you're in it, it could have been the worst thing. You could have felt like, man, is this going downhill? And by the time you're finished, you feel more open, you feel more alive, you feel more loving towards your partner, you feel closer. That's a fight where both people fought for the relationship, whether they knew it or not. They were fighting from a place of more consciousness. Now, let's distinguish that out even a little bit more. I want to say, most people don't even realize why they're fighting. You don't necessarily fight because your partner left the toilet seat up or down. Yeah, we care about that, but how much do we really care about that? So, yeah, we do bicker and fight about silly little things. I know that. Put that aside for a second. So many fights on a deeper level happen because we are yearning for something. There's a deeper yearning underneath most fights. So a deeper yearning is not to have the other person be neater necessarily, or have them be more on time, or have them look a certain way or act a certain way. The deeper need might be for love. It might be for connection. It might be for acknowledgement, the deeper yearning. The deeper yearning might be for a sense of safety. The deeper yearning might be for children. The deeper yearning might be for better understanding and communication. So let me give you an example. I had a weight loss client who came to see me. She wanted to lose 15 pounds. We talked all around about weight loss, 15 pounds, what do we do, diet, this, that, the other thing. And as I'm listening to her story, to her life, I love people's stories. That's how we learn how to help people. You listen to their story, you learn about them. So anyway, she's engaged. She's really stressed. She has a busy work life. She and her fiance have a busy lifestyle. They're both very active. And she says, when I asked her, like her and her fiance, they've been constantly fighting. She says that's her biggest stress in life right now, the constant fighting between her and her fiance. What do you fight about? She said to me, stupid little things. So I asked her, what's your biggest complaint about him? So her biggest complaint about him is he's needy. He's needy, he's always needing, whatever that meant. And then I said, what's his biggest complaint towards you? She thought for a moment, and she was, I think she was honest. She said, his biggest complaint is that I'm unavailable to him. And so she thinks he's needy, he thinks she's unavailable, and they fight about all kinds of little things. So when I was able to get in a conversation with her and I introduced the concept of, maybe there's a deeper yearning here. I said, if I'm going to put myself in his shoes for a second, let me see if I can guess. His yearning, I bet he wants to feel more connected to you. I bet he wants to feel more of a sense of partnership, more of a sense that you're on board. Because, by the way, when one person is occurring as needy, oftentimes, not always, oftentimes there is an unmet need. That's not happening there. That's deeper. That's more interesting than just neediness. He wants to feel like he counts. So I asked her about that. And she kind of lit up. And she started describing, when I asked, what was she really yearning for? She got a little teary-eyed, and it turns out that her parents divorced when she was young. Her dad left the marriage. She's really scared. She's not showing up with her fiance as if she's scared. And the way she shows up is she's kind of pushing him away. And she was able to own to him that she was feeling so afraid to deal with their impending marriage by pushing him away. And when she shared it, they both melted, they both shifted, and they saw each other in a different light. She needed safety and reassurance, actually, and he needed her to choose him. And the way it was showing up was all these little nonsense arguments, but they were able to get down underneath. What a good thing. There's a lot of beauty that can come out of conflict. Remember, it's energy. I want you to think of it this way. The more intense the fight, the more intense the argument, that's how potential the passion is. That's how potential the love is. That's how much transformation can happen. That's how much goodies can happen. So whenever I hear about a relationship challenge that has a lot of energy, that doesn't scare me. I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of energy that can get redirected to something that's pretty good. So let's talk about skill number 4. Know your archetypes. That's skill number 4. Know your archetypes. Let me define archetypes for a second. Archetypes are like blueprints. They're timeless forms. So an archetype, there's a mother archetype, there's a father archetype, there's an athlete archetype, there's a scientist. So when I say mother, all mothers are different, all fathers are different, but mothers have some certain things in common, fathers have a certain thing in common. So when I say those words, you have certain associations. Those are blueprints, the larger blueprint. So if you're a father, you have 100 fathers, yes, they're all different. But the archetype called father has some commonalities to it. So in essence, and my friends, this is a great writer-downer, counseling, coaching technique. you don't just work with the person sitting in front of you, you work with their archetype. So when I'm talking to a mother, I'm also talking to the mother archetype. When I'm talking to a nerd, I'm talking to the nerd archetype. When I'm talking to an artist, I'm talking to the artist archetype. When I'm talking to a young man, I'm talking to the prince archetype. When I'm talking to an 80-year-old woman, I'm talking to the wise woman archetype. And when you speak to an archetype, you get work done so much quicker. So the 4 archetypes I want to talk about right now, there's so many of them. I've mentioned a few. You know, witch is an archetype, bitch is an archetype, jerk is an archetype. Let's talk about the royal archetypes: king, queen, prince, princess. They're all different. You've heard about them before in fairy tales. But when it comes to working with clients, let me give you a couple of distinctions, tell you what I mean. A woman, in my system, in my way of working, a woman is in her queen archetype when she's age 50 and beyond. And what often happens is so many of us, so many women, will not graduate yet into their queen archetype. They'll stay in their princess. Now, when one is in one's princess archetype, age 0 to 30 approximately, we need feedback from the outside. We need love coming in from the outside. We need to gather our bank account of, who am I? Tell me that I'm okay. Tell me who I am. Show me what my value is. So the princess archetype needs input from the outside world. She needs to know, tell me I'm pretty, tell me okay, tell me you love me. The queen archetype is a little different. The queen sits on her throne. She doesn't need your approval. The queen approves of herself. Imagine a queen sitting on her throne. She wouldn't say to her subjects, do you love me? Am I okay? Should I be losing weight? Should I be eating better? Does this dress look okay? She sits in her power. She sits in her royalty. She knows herself. Well, what happens is when you have a woman of queen age who's still living in her princess archetype, that will affect how she is in relationship. That will affect how she hears her partner. That will affect how she functions. That will affect how she treats her body. When you invite someone into their age-appropriate archetype, things shift really quick. Give you another example. When a man is in his king archetype, so age 50 and above, let's say, in the king archetype, a king knows who he is. A king knows his purpose. A king knows why he is here. Now, a lot of men reach king age, and they don't know who they are. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They've worked really hard, and what's the point? What's the meaning of life? And a lot of times their health goes down. They don't take care of themselves. They let their relationship fall apart. They don't juice up their relationship, and they have all these relationship problems, and it actually has nothing to do with the relationship per se. But that man hasn't fully embraced his king archetype. He hasn't explored what's my new purpose, my new mission in life. It has to be something that inspires him. It has to be something that motivates him. So before I try to fix his relationship, I'm looking, how do I help him step into the king archetype more? Where does he need to be doing more self-understanding? Where does he need to be doing more mentoring? Where does he need to look in the mirror to make plans about who he is and what he wants to do with his life? So your clients of different age groups, your princes, so princes 0 to 30 for a young man. The prince archetype, prince needs a lot of feedback. Prince needs to be critiqued. Princes love to get all the scores. How many home runs did I hit? What's my batting average? How did I do on this test? How do I rank compared to everybody else? When you give a young man that information, it pushes him. It helps him grow. A lot of young men don't get that. They're not getting good feedback. They're not getting critique about how they show up. So they can't grow. They can't expand in more consciousness into their relationship because they're being what we often call a toxic prince, which is they want to conquer. They want to take. They want to get selfish because the world isn't giving them feedback. Adults are not giving them feedback. Mentors are not giving them feedback. So, my friends, there's so much more to say about archetypes, about relationship. I'd like to take a few moments right now and just share about our new online program. It's called the Conscious Relationship Training. So briefly, I set out to create a training that would be time efficient, cost sensitive, high value, and deliver as much actionable content as possible while staying true to the special and exquisite nature of human relationship. You know, I set out to make it really a truly holistic training that incorporates a mind, body, heart, soul approach to a topic that is beautifully complex, and there's a lot of different ways to look at it, to cut it, to understand it. You know, I think you get, if you're a human being alive on planet Earth, you've seen it, you realize it, you know it, that relationship is a juicy place, that there's a lot of action there. And the beautiful opportunity is that we, the collective, we need relationship wisdom. We need the kind of wisdom that helps people transform their struggles in a more uplifting way. We need the kind of training for ourselves, all of us, just as people, but also professional, the kind of distinctions, especially for you as a professional, that'll give you more confidence, a greater toolkit, give you powerful insights, give you strong skill set that allows you to serve others. And also the idea here for professionals in terms of this training is to give you another tool that can help you kind of magnetize more clients into your practice, a bigger skill set to invite more people in, and for you to be more effective. Because the truth is, I don't care what kind of practitioner you are, a person's significant relationship, and wherever they're at in relationship, is going to impact them so profoundly. You know, there are hundreds of millions of books about relationship sold in the last decade alone. You know, coaching itself is now a $2 billion a year industry that's becoming even more popular each year. Americans are spending $900 million a year on coaching. And despite all this, relationship is still the key area that so many practitioners and coaches don't really have training in. So, simply put, the training is a 5-month online program. It's fully online. It's designed for coaches, practitioners, and helping professionals who are ready to help their clients when it comes to what I would say are the most important relationship challenges of our times. So the training includes 20 weekly audio presentations. They're meaty, they're potent, they're intense. There are full transcripts of every session. There's key highlights and notes. We have an online forum that's managed, manned, and womaned by our great staff. Every month there's a couple of live Q&A calls, question and answer and comment calls. That'll be with me, and we'll jump on the line together. So that's live. And by the way, if you're not in those calls, all the calls are recorded, and you can even send in your questions. We have a lot of great bonus material as well. So it's a convenient distance learning format. All the materials that you get are downloadable, yours to keep for life. This is all about you tapping into your gifts as a helping professional, calling upon your wisdom in addition to learning new distinctions that can help make relationship more conscious and all the challenges therein. So you'll also get a highly curated, optional recommended reading and resource list. I have pulled together what I think are the best resources out there because I fanatically look for that. So again, this is about enhancing your skill set, enhancing your earning power. Yeah, you know, we always have people taking our trainings who do it for personal reasons. So it's hard to go through a training like this. Any training, any professional training should impact us personally. So I think this training, you know, hits on a lot of levels. So you're going to learn from a professional standpoint, but how could you not get transformed in terms of your own relationship to relationship? So the training itself is founded upon a very unique, practical blend of coaching skills, cultural studies, transformational disciplines, mind-body science, conflict skills, results-driven strategies. You know, I really believe in an approach that helps you apply your knowledge in the real world, in a client session, and gets things done. So I want to remind you again, the curriculum is all about the most common and compelling relationship challenges: communication, intimacy, arguing, fighting, dating, breaking up, transitions, divorces, and all the unique challenges facing women, facing men, facing different age groups. Again, the focus on the training is about teaching you how to help your client do their own inner work by offering them new ideas, tools, and skills that they then bring into their relationship life. So please be clear, this training is not going to teach you how to be a couples therapist. I bow down to couples therapists. That's a hard skill to learn. It's a very specialized field of study, requires years and years and years to get good at it. Hard to get good at it. So you're going to learn how to work one-on-one with your clients to help them heal, shift, or simply revitalize the way that they do relationship. You're going to gain a powerful set of coaching strategies to help them get where they want to go. So really quick, some of the curriculum highlights are going to talk about relationship coaching tools, skills for managing conflict, toxic relationship beliefs, key relationship challenges, the stages and cycles of relationship, very important, the mother-father code. Ladies and gentlemen, wow, are we impacted by our relationship with mother and father? I love that material. It's so cool. The mystery and impact of polarity, working with sexuality, pleasure, and intimacy. This stuff's important. We're going to talk about love and really get down what's love got to do with it. We're going to talk about, dive deep into relationship archetypes, masculine and feminine psychology, again, coaching across age groups, breaking up and divorce, the in-between times, which are so juicy. The training, consider it for you if you're a health coach, you're a life coach, you're a counselor, you're a healing practitioner, you're a community educator, a spiritual mentor, a helping professional, a fitness professional. You know, again, it's also good for anyone who just wants to do a deeper dive into relationship dynamics and learn a more soulful approach that can help you understand your own relationship journey and the relationship journey of your friends, your family, your loved ones, and again, if you're a professional, of course, your clients. It's all about helping you feel skilled and confident. So, you know, the ways you would use it. You're going to help your clients with relationship concerns that we already mentioned. You can augment your already existing practice, whether you're a health coach, a life coach, if you're into fitness, massage, yoga. You know, one of the things that sets the training apart is that it's not just about behavior change. It's not just about some nice little memes. It's really about having the heart and the soul and the knowledge and the details and the wisdom and the protocols and the maps, so it can all come together for you as the practitioner in a real effective way. And key to the training, understand that the training sees any challenges that come up in a relationship not as an indication that the relationship is broken and needs to be fixed, but as a healthy sign that growth and learning and discovery are ready to happen. So to me, that's conscious relationship. When we look at all the challenges that we face as the material for life, as the fertilizer for our growth to help us grow into something beautiful. So, you know, when it comes to working with relationships, many people go through years of schooling, and that's because it's a deep and complex topic. So while it's impossible to cram 4 to 6 years of higher education into a 5-month online training, what is possible is to take so many of the greatest hits from the various systems that I mentioned, condense them into an educational program that's designed to deliver useful and relevant information in the shortest amount of time, and to just get in there and hit the target. So that's what this training is all about. It's really, I've taken so much of what I think is the great material, the distinctions, the tools out there, and condensed them into one learning experience. So let me take another 5 minutes of your time. I want to talk about the details in terms of your investment, and if you're interested, what to do next. Normally, the price of the training is $2,997. For those of you tuning in today, because this is the first time we're offering this training, we have a special $1,000 off offer if you purchase the program in the next 48 hours, 2 days. So again, training is normally $2,997. If you're tuning in today, this is the first time we are launching this training. Special $1,000 off if you enroll in the next 48 hours. That's a savings of over 30%. We totally want to make this as doable for you as possible, so that brings the price to $1,997. We do have payment plans for those who wish to pay this off over time. We're going to share the link for you to learn more and sign up now. Okay, so we're going to share that link with you. So please note again, if you want to save that $1,000, over 30% off of the program, you'll need to go ahead and sign up in the next 48 hours. Program begins June 7th. Okay, and one more thing. You're going to need to enter a special promo code to get the discount. The promo code, all caps, relating. You have to remember that, relating. All caps, that's the promo code you're going to enter once you get into the system. As soon as you register, you will get your welcome packet. You'll get to join the private online group. You're going to get optional readings, resources, preliminary exercises to get you started right away. If you have any questions, email us. Email us, my friends. Info, I-N-F-O, at psychologyofeating.com. So you have questions, info at psychologyofeating.com. Feel free, ask away. We have such a helpful team here. Let me close by saying this, my friends. Human beings, we are such creatures of relationship. There's no way around it. We need each other. We do. We need each other. We desire each other, and in many ways we become such better people because of our significant relationships. I know I have. But we also know that relationship journey is not always so easy, and it's why we need help. And what's fascinating is that so much of the relationship advice and support that most people get, it comes from friends and family, and chances are you've already been a relationship coach to so many of the people closest to you. They've likely done the same for you. And, you know, that gives us a window into the beauty of the coaching experience. So you don't need to be a lifelong relationship professional to help people in this area, because each one of us comes with a unique wisdom, our own life experience, and some valuable lessons and insights that we've learned along our own relationship journey. And when you couple that with a professional training that's intended to turbocharge your already existing relationship knowledge with tools and distinctions that are potent and powerful